You're listening to the Spirit Podcast.
Hi, friends, and welcome to the Spirit. I'm Beck.
And I'm Steph.
Hey, Steph.
Hey, Beck.
Today, we have a news share. We're going to talk about paranormal news.
Sounds good. It's hard to find. We wanted to share things with people that maybe they didn't hear about, and it's hard to get anything.
Maybe it's too taboo.
There's just times where it just seems to saturate the news, and then all of a sudden it's gone.
Cycles. Yeah,
Cycles.
I mean, if you go back to October, it is jam-packed with information.
Mm-hmm.
Now, finding a news article for November is it's ridiculous. So some of the articles we've chosen kind of date back a little bit, maybe a month or so.
I know. Don't you remember back, this is probably a few years ago now, but there was that whole, it was on every single news, and it was that poor family that had, I think Zach Baggins ended up buying the house, infested house. All of a sudden you'll hear something amazing like that, and then you're looking for it, like something like that must be in the news somewhere.
Nothing. I do have to mention, though, before we get into our news stories, when I was sitting with Tom in New Hampshire, and that was the Granite State Phenomena episode, I had some really strange sounds coming over that I played for the audience. They were like, boop, 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 you know, weird boops and beeps. So the other day, it was weird. 11:11, my phone rings, and a call comes in from Los Angeles, California. Spam call. I let it go to the voicemail. And when I checked the voicemail, I couldn't hear anything. It was just blank. So I'm like, oh, it's a spam call or whatever. But then I decided I'm going to play it again and put the phone up to my ear close because I had it on speakerphone. And when I did that, I heard the same exact boops and beeps that I heard in the recording with Tom. And it made me feel like I was being tracked. That whatever came and interrupted our conversation that night, it was like...
Tracked by who?
Dare I say it? Yeah.
I guess so.
I mean...
This is the paranormal
I feel maybe...
podcast.
Okay, I don't know for sure, but I'm just thinking it had a little bit of a UFO feel to it or an ET vibe. I mean, I don't know. So here's what's even weirder is I Google the number, because sometimes you can search the numbers and it'll say, you know, spam, or there'll be a number list that says, this was a telemarketer. So I searched it. I couldn't find anything. Finally found one thing. The number that I search comes up and it says numbers in California. And it says scales importantly, crabby morning confusing, tick snatched allowed. And I was like, what? Usually you'd see like a business or, you know, some kind of private name or landline. Nothing. That was what was come up. Scales importantly, crabby morning confusing, tick snatched allowed. And that was just really weird. So I had my mother search it on a database to see if she could find who this number belongs to. And no results were returned. So this number came out of nowhere at 11:11 and just boop, 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 boop.
That whole 11:11 thing, I never got 11:11, but I would get triple numbers at one time. And it seems like it's like a weird, like no matter what clock I looked at, it was like my head would turn to look at a clock, boom, 3 numbers in a row. I knew people that were getting 11:11.
Yeah.
It's like a weird, it's like getting a cold or like a virus.
Yeah.
It's weird.
I don't get it because it comes in waves too. Like I'll go forever without numbers. And then all of a sudden I'll see 333, 111, But I think we should do another show about that actually.
Yes.
Because the whole number thing, I mean, not only do I want to get a numerologist on, but I'd like to get somebody that knows a little bit about this. Every time you search that, it comes up angel number. Angel numbers mean this.
And how do they know it's an angel?
Yeah,
that's what I don't understand about people who attach certain things to certain things. Where did they get that information from?
We need an expert.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely need an expert.
Okay, since we were just talking about aliens.
Oh, wait. Let me play those boops and bops for the audience now.
Okay.
What'd you think of that stuff?
It's weird.
Did you hear the static in between too? It was kind of...
Yeah, I heard all of it.
They're coming for me, Steph. They found me.
Well, anyways, we're on the UFO highway here. So
We are.
But anyway, speaking about aliens, this was, I got to check the date on this. All right, this is not new, but I just found it fascinating because I guess there was a GOP congressional candidate. I think she's from Florida. Just let me double. Yeah, from Florida. She said she was abducted by Jesus-like aliens.
Wow. She was a GOP candidate?
Yeah, yes. I don't know.
Was that from this year?
Yeah, she won her seat too.
Oh, wow.
No, it was from a couple years ago, but because I found it, I thought, oh, how weird. And the fact that she's a conservative too. Because you always think of conservative politicians as like, they'll believe in Jesus, but they won't believe in anything else.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she's a Republican congressional candidate from Florida, has made some out-of-this-world claims. Bettina Rodriguez Aguilera, one of nearly a dozen candidates hoping to win the U.S. House seat currently held by retiring Republican Leanna Rose. Sorry, this is a weird name.
They're difficult.
Claims she was abducted by aliens who reminded her of Jesus Christ, according to newly resurfaced interviews.
Wait a minute. The aliens reminded her of Jesus Christ?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Which, does that ring a bell for any type of aliens that you know about, like, or heard of? And not say like you know them.
There's like the bug ones. There's the grays.
The tall grays.
Yeah, the Jesus aliens. I've seen. They're depicted everywhere.
Yeah, well, maybe Jesus is an alien anyways.
Hey, I wouldn't doubt it at this point. 2020 is bringing in some weird shit.
Yes, and what else do they have to say about this? So it's saying, I went in. There were some round seats that were there and some quartz rocks that controlled the ship.
Okay. Okay, no, that's believable.
Can't help but laugh. Not like airplanes, of course. No, everyone knows quartz rocks. You can't control an airplane with a quartz rocks.
Hey, but computers are controlled by them.
In a way. That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So, I mean, these are advanced
aircraft. They don't need buttons. They just put the rock.
Yep. It's
it
like
just works
Superman.
magically.
They put that. Okay.
Sorry, we're making fun of it because we're ignorant.
We have to. No, we're not ignorant. We're just having fun. I mean, come on. How many people say they go up and get abducted by Jesus aliens?
So she claims that she was taken at age 7 by 3 tall blonde space people who have communicated with her telepathically at times since. She said the aliens reminded her of the Christ the Redeemer statue in Rio de Janeiro. And she says God is a universal energy, not a person, the aliens told her. According to the Washington Post, it's in everything. God talks to people and they understand it in different ways, but there's only one religion. She called the Herald report an attack piece, according to Miami ABC station Local 10. However, she did not mention whether she believed she had been abducted by aliens or if she had been in telepathic contact with them. Rodriguez issued a statement to the Herald that also did not confirm or deny her earlier comments on being abducted, but noted that Presidents Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan both claim to have seen UFOs. She also cited Stephen Hawking as someone who believes in the possibility of life beyond Earth. So I'm going to end this one right there.
I got an alien invasion latest 2020 threat as UFO sightings shoot up in New York. Here in New York. Well, maybe it's New York City. Let me read on.
Okay.
This came out of patch.com. You know, patch.com.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about patch.com. New York City add the war of the worlds to everything else 2020 is throwing at New York. Sky gazers have reported a huge increase of unidentified flying objects seen in the state. Already 184 unexplained flying crafts or lights seen in the state have been logged with the National UFO Reporting Center. The sightings include bright lights, strange sounds, and oddly shaped objects. A person in Staten Island gave a terrifying description of a burning sensation following the sighting. Quote, and that's when I felt this heat-like feeling going through my body. End quote.
Maybe it was menopause.
I'm going through that myself, so maybe the aliens are coming for me. Starting at my head, like some sort of radiation, burning me, like frying me. And that's when I realized it was the craft. We were on the rooftop viewing the Perseids when the glowing green UFO passed directly overhead at a low altitude, followed by what sounded like a military aircraft said one. The green lights were revolving in a figure 8 as the craft moved quickly from east to west towards Manhattan. The military aircraft that appeared to follow it was very loud. Nationwide, there have been thousands of witness accounts of UFOs submitted to the center. UFO hunting has been popular pursuit in the United States since the mid-20th century, when Kenneth Arnold, a businessman piloting a small plane, filed the first well-known report in 1947 of a UFO over Mount Rainier in Washington. Arnold claimed he saw 9 high-speed crescent-shaped objects zooming along at several thousand miles per hour, like saucers skipping on water. It may be easy to scoff at some of the eyewitness accounts on the National UFO Reporting Center, but the idea of intergalactic travel got a boost when information emerged from the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, a $22 million multi-year program that began in 2007 to investigate unidentified aerial phenomena. And I believe that's what they're calling it now instead of UFO. Mm-hmm. They're calling it UAP.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was according to the New York Times and Politico. What do you think about this uptick in New York? Well, why New York?
I don't know.
Big population?
Maybe it's the energy, the population. Maybe it's they're drawing it. I mean, there's been a lot of violence down there, a lot of protests, a lot of anger. There's some historical stories about UFOs where there was nuclear sites that were invaded by UFOs. You know, they would see them above these nuclear sites, and it's kind of like a warning, like, don't do this. Just makes me wonder what's happening.
Do you think they're monitoring us, or do you think that they're going to swoop in at some point?
I don't know. I know nothing about aliens whatsoever. I only know the movie Aliens, and they scare the crap out of me. I don't like the ocean because of Jaws. Like, it's all stuck in my head that I can't get out.
So do you think that came from movies, or do you think it comes from the fact that a ghost, technically, you could kind of get away with unscathed?
It's that feeling like you can't defend yourself.
No.
They have total control over you.
I feel like they could just peel the roof off of your house.
Yeah.
And just...
Even demons, as powerful as they are, you just say, in Jesus' name, go. And they usually go. You know, like there's something that you can do to get rid of them. Though I have heard that some people have used prayer with aliens. Like maybe there is a force that helps get rid of them too if they're causing a problem. But my sister had bought a book one time, and it talked about people's personal experiences, and a lot of them used prayer and they went away.
Do you have any other alien ones?
I do. Well, this one is just a pop culture one. 13 famous people who believe in aliens. So I was curious about this. Like, all right, what famous people believe in aliens?
Oh, go through that list. Let's hear it.
Winston Churchill.
Okay.
And I didn't realize that. And I thought, I know that people have seen weird shit in the skies for ages, but we've attached it now to a technology like actual ship since the 20th century. You know, I feel like that's a modern, like they're ships, you know, but maybe they are ships. So I think about when Winston Churchill is believing in aliens, like what do they think it was, like a ship, or is it just like a thing in the sky, a light in the sky? I don't know. Yeah. Because was there in 1939?
I'm sure. I think they go back, way back.
Yeah.
Jesus times. Again, that's where the Jesus aliens came from.
Well, I'm just thinking, like, you ever see how, though, like when people draw alien spaceships, they actually evolve over the years. So when you see a UFO from like the 1940s, it looks like a 1940s
that
UFO.
That is true. That is kind of weird. You're right. When you go back and you look at the 1950s TV shows and stuff, you know, Danger Will Robinson. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, all right, let's see who else I can find here. All right, I don't know who Zayn Malik is. Anyone know who that guy is? He believes in UFOs. Gigi Hadid, I know who she is.
Yep.
I know who her mother is.
Well, who is she?
Well, she's a model. Her mother, I think, was a model too.
Oh, okay.
Let's see why she believes.
Better be good, Gigi.
It says it's always better when two people in a relationship are on the same page about important issues. For model Gigi Hadid and her boyfriend, singer. Oh, her boyfriend's that guy Zayn Malik. That's probably why he's famous.
Oh.
Their shared belief in aliens make them a match made in the cosmos. Ariana Grande.
Okay.
We know who she is. Great voice. And she says, I'm obsessed with aliens. In a 2013 interview with Complex magazine, the pop powerhouse said we'd be so stupid to believe we are the only people here.
Well, I got to agree with you, Ariana.
Ridley Scott. Well,
oh, obviously.
I know.
That would be an obvious one.
Yeah. So we'll just not even read about that.
Okay, yeah, forget that.
Gillian Anderson, now.
Well, that's another kind of obvious one.
But she played like the atheist in X-Files, so it's like, really? Does she believe in anything? Because I associate her with her character. It says, but while Anderson spent 9 seasons investigating paranormal phenomena on the small screen, does she believe in aliens in real life? I do, to the degree that the universe is obviously vast, and the thought that we are the only planet full of living beings doesn't make sense. That doesn't necessarily mean that there are aliens, but there could be. If we were talking about an advancement of technology, that they'd be potentially further along than us as a conceivable as their existence. So I wouldn't rule it out. So,
well, that's generic, but okay.
Yeah.
Who else we got?
Let's see. Who's this? Katy Perry. She's got the song Alien. What is that song?
Oh, yeah.
I'm an alien.
Oh, yeah.
Don't put that in there.
Keep going. Keep going.
Okay, let's get rid of Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Nick Jonas.
Yeah. Know who he is.
Okay. And that's it.
I'm surprised Miley Cyrus wasn't in
Yeah.
there, because I think Miley said something about it, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of...
These are like the millennial believers.
It's weird, too. Like, when we were growing up, there was the whole... you'd get a show about aliens here and there. And I'm talking about when we were real young. But now, because of, like, History Channel and Ancient Aliens and all these shows, I think it's really embedded in people's consciousness. Like, it's never going back. This is, like, the belief system now of people.
Yeah.
In this generation. It's just
that's
permanent.
A good thing, though, maybe. I think.
Could be. I don't know. Like, I've just had so many... There's a lot of people really believe in aliens in a very, very real way, and they have names for them and what areas they come from, and I don't know what to think about that.
It's because you're frightened.
Yes.
Fear changes everything. I have another article. This is from express.co.uk. This is pretty recent, too. This was published Friday, November 6th. UFO crash landing site on Mars is inexplicable proof of aliens. Alien hunters believe they found evidence of a UFO crash landing site on Mars, claiming the same alien ships have been found on Earth. A conspiracy theorist, oh, here we go, who's been searching through archive images from NASA believes why do they have to call him a conspiracy theorist? Why can't they just say he was like a UFO hunter? Mm-hmm. The apparent bombshell comes in the form of a disc-shaped object with a flat surface, which can be seen partially buried in the Martian sand. An alien enthusiast, Scott C. Waring, claims the disc is an alien craft.
What do you think of the picture?
Oh, I'm looking at the picture. You know,
to me it looks like rocks, but...
It does. It could look like a rock formation. I mean, I guess if we'd really need to get in there and examine it. It does have some strange curving edges that are a little bit strange for rock formations. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I wouldn't call it inexplicable proof.
Yeah. No, I think that they're looking at the shape and saying, that's an unusual shape for this landscape. It's just out of
Yeah. Now, of course, NASA's denying this. They're saying pareidolia is the psychological phenomenon where people see recognizable shapes in clouds, rock formations, or otherwise unrelated objects or data. But see, pareidolia is used in so many aspects of the paranormal. Mm-hmm. You know, someone will take a picture of a ghost, a literal ghost, and half of the population will go, that's pareidolia. This thing looks like a recreation of Grandpa Bob, and you're going, no way. That is not pareidolia. Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's just a bug with some cigarette smoke behind it.
To me, that pareidolia is like looking at a cloud and then making a shape out of a cloud.
Right. So I don't know what to think of that. I believe that there's probably something other than us out there in this vast universe. So it's not too hard for me to believe that there may be something sitting in Mars under the sand.
Who's the guy that went to the moon? I can't think of his name.
Neil Armstrong?
Not Neil Armstrong.
Buzz Lightyear?
Buzz Lightyear. Well, he was talking...
Buzz Aldrin?
I think it was with Alex Jones, and he talked about...
It's not going to be credible at all, because it's Alex Jones.
No one will give him credit, but he said that there is an obelisk or something on the moon, that they saw stuff that they...
have no explanation for.
No explanation. I'm like, an obelisk on the moon. Okay, Becky.
Yes.
If I told you about a doll that could really cry, not like the kind that actually can cry, like you buy them at the store and
you put water in them.
Yeah, they poop and pee.
Yeah, do they even make those anymore?
I don't know. I used to have a roller skating doll.
Yeah,
it was tall. It was kind of tall. I mean, like when I mean tall, I mean maybe like over a foot.
Did he poop and pee?
No, just roller skated. But I don't know, you'd wind him up in the back and he had the certain gait like motion and you could put him on the ground and he'd start skating. But
it was nothing paranormal.
nothing paranormal.
Even though he's probably a little creepy, right?
All dolls are creepy.
They are. I'm with you on that one.
But this doll that I read about actually cries real tears during a bar ghost hunt. So I guess this doll, supposedly the ghost hunters believe this doll is infested by the demonic. And they use it in their ghost hunts. And they do the Ouija board too, which is like, these are the worst ghost hunters of all time. Like, what are you trying to do to yourself?
So they use a demonic doll and a
Yes.
Ouija to do what exactly?
I think they believe it attracts spirits or whatever. Like they're getting phenomenon happening
Well,
by
okay.
dragging this doll with them. So it says paranormal investigator Matt Tillett was carrying out an inspection at a hideout bar in Wrexham, Wales. And this is obviously in England. When Annie, a doll he brings along with him, started crying for no reason. According to the Daily Post, Annie is believed to have been possessed by a malevolent being, which Matt says helps bring forward spirits and activity on his investigations. At his most recent investigation at Hideout, I think it's called Hideout, this
Okay.
place, he claims to have heard a ghost screaming, the sound of children running around, and made a communication with a 170-year-old cobbler. Is cobbler an elf?
Here in the States it is. He sells cookies. But there, I believe he's a shoe man.
That's a shoemaker.
Yeah, shoemaker.
Okay, so, and those are Keebler elves. We
Oh.
totally messed that up. But anyways,
Well, isn't it? Oh, a cobbler might be a dessert, a popular
yeah,
dessert.
it's cobbler's dessert. Some apple cobbler.
Okay. So let me ask you this. The doll cries.
Mm-hmm.
Her name is Annie. Do they say, Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Eddie?
Are you okay? But he doesn't understand what could have caused Annie to be so upset during the hunt. So, it says the doll that lives in a box and is fitted with paranormal equipment in the hope of proving there's life after death is now left with stains down the paintwork on her face as a result of her regular tears. Maybe like the doll doesn't want to be possessed anymore.
Maybe she doesn't want to even go to these investigations. She just wants to hang out with another little girl.
She wants to be
She
her
wants to
hair
have tea
combed,
parties.
Tea parties. It says, I've had her for over a year now, and it's the first time she's had real tears. I can't explain it. It's been happening since I've put her in a new enclosure. Maybe it's her new enclosure. Maybe it's the enclosure. But it says, I've sent it to demonologists, and they've suggested it could be one of the demons crying because they're trapped in a box and they can't get out. I don't think so. I think they're trying. If it's demonic, demons don't cry.
I mean,
have no
maybe
emotion.
just to fool you, to make you feel bad.
Yeah, I think it's trying to
Like
to do
lure
something.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
But
look at
anyways-
Annabelle.
Does Annabelle cry?
I don't know. She's a rag doll. I
I
don't
used
know.
to have a Raggedy Ann doll, and I know that's the original
Yeah.
Annabelle. It's
But
not
I mean,
that-
if the Raggedy Ann doll started crying, would you even notice?
I know.
It would just get soaked up into the
Yeah,
fabric.
Yeah. But there's a lot of Virgin Mary statues that have cried. My own personal thing about like crying statues or dolls or whatever. My godmother, Beverly Galtieri, she's passed away now, but when she was young, and this happened here in Syracuse, this was a huge thing that happened. It went all over the world. Her and her sister were very poor. Their father left them. This is going back, she'd probably be in her 80s now if she was alive. What happened was her sister and her had a Saint Anne statue, and that's Saint Anne is the mother or the grandmother of Jesus, so it's Mary's mother. So I guess the Saint Anne statue, it's not very. I mean, it's big, but it's not humongous. It's, I don't know, maybe a couple feet tall, and they used it or something to prop up a window, like something that you shouldn't have done. They were both young, and it fell, head broke off. So Beverly's sister runs downstairs and instinctively picks up the head and kisses it because it's kind of a Catholic thing. Like you
You Catholics kiss everything.
Kiss holy things. Kiss the air and wave to all the saints. It started crying. And then they had to go get a priest. And then people started hearing. My mother remembers this, and she even went to their house when she was young, just so they could get a glimpse of the holy phenomena. Not only did this happen with the statue, but it was really tied to Beverly's sister. So Beverly went to Canada with this priest that was helping her, and they visited the big St. Anne, like, cathedral church that's in Canada. I don't know if it's in Montreal or somewhere. There's a big statue of St. Anne in there. And so she kissed that statue. That statue wept like rain. They said it rained over the people.
Beverly kissed it?
No, her sister. This
is coming from the sister then.
Yes, but Beverly, Beverly later on had lots of stuff happening. She kind of reminds me, her and her husband kind of remind me of Ed and Lorraine Warren, but in a different way. Like the Warrens were more like into the darker supernatural, where Bev and Pat are more like the positive supernatural. But her sister had this going on for a while. So then another phenomena happened where her sister drew a picture of St. Anne, kissed it, and gave it to someone, and the paper started weeping. Very, very unusual stuff. And it happened for a while. And it started to drain her sister, though. She felt all her energy drain. And she stopped doing it. And the crowds of people that were showing up were unbearable. They would steal pieces of their house.
Well, I mean, because you get that crazy religious...
And even back then it was more unusual. Like, now you hear weird stuff happening all the time. Back then it was like very unusual. And the other strange thing that happened, what was going on at the same time, is there was a statue in Syracuse, Sicily. Now, this is Syracuse, New York that happened. Syracuse, Sicily is also having a statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary cry tears at the same exact time. Just very, very strange.
Something was going on to make them very sad. What is the purpose of the crying? What is it really? I don't understand. What is happening from that? What is coming out of that?
I think it's Catholic guilt. God's got to make you feel bad about your sins. Stop sinning, you're making me cry.
Good answer.
But I do think that phenomena definitely is tied to, there's something that's making God upset. Something's happening where he wants people to change their life. I think when people see it, the hopes is maybe they'll change their life around.
Well, in 2020, everything should be crying right now. Colonel Sanders sign should be crying. Ronald McDonald should be crying. Everyone should be crying. If you're in the Tucson area, even though the COVID-19 restrictions are in place, the top Tucson landmark for over 100 years is Hotel Congress. And what they're claiming is this is the most haunted place in the United States. But they say that about everything. Everything's the most haunted in the United States. Builder's mission. Okay, this is coming out of the Mirror Online. All right. So builder's mission to prove houses are not haunted. Creaking floorboards? Weird sounding pipes? Tradesman Andy Sims has got some good news for you if you're worried about ghosts in your home. A builder is on a mission to dispel the idea of haunted houses and prove that dodgy pipes and creaky stairs are the most likely culprits. A third of homeowners are convinced they live in a haunted house and are bothered by things that go bump in the night. But experienced tradesman Andy Sims revealed these ghostly going-ons are much more likely to be simple problems at home in need of fixing. To help homeowners understand the bangs and hissing, which can plague a night's sleep, My Builder has released an informative 7 Deadly Sounds video that addresses the most common nocturnal clatterings. They identify the noises which come from broken guttering, mice in the walls, wind coming up through a gap in the window, and more. Okay, so this guy basically is going in and he's trying to find
logical answers.
The logical, yeah. Okay, kind of similar to taps and the plumbers that go in and they say, it's a leaky pipe, it's EMF, there's electric coming out of your whatever. But that's not explaining why there's been an uptick in paranormal activity this year, especially since the pandemic. Which leads us to an actual New York Times story, quarantining with a ghost. It's scary. Now, I don't want to go through this whole article because it's pretty big, and these people do reveal their names, which makes it all that more credible. When someone doesn't give you their name and they're telling you this story, it's like, okay.
I think some people do that because they're scared of other people finding out and thinking it's weird or they're weird. It's kind of like embarrassing to some people to have this happen to them. So I understand that.
But this article on the New York Times, Quarantining with a Scary Ghost, It's Scary, has story after story in this article
really
about just dealing with paranormal things that's going on that never happened before. And they're not attributing it to them being home all the time. Although I'm sure it can hold hands. It's like a 50-50 thing. Yeah, you're home more, so you're going to notice more. But I think there's something bigger going on. I just don't know what it is.
I don't know. people are starting to wake up. When you think about it, our culture, it has a lot to do with money, it has a lot to do with doing well in this country, which that's not wrong in itself, but I think our focus is just so wrong, you know? And I think we're a caring culture, but there's just something that we don't have spiritually here. And sometimes you need these things to happen, I think, to
wake your ass up.
And go, hey, we should be preparing for the next life.
We've got to get right with God.
Yeah.
Get right with ourselves. Get right with others. It leads into a couple things. I'm going to actually post these on our social media because you kind of need to see these in order to understand. So the first thing I'm going to post that you can find on our Facebook page, To the Spirit, or you can find it on our Instagram, To the Spirit Pod. Mum home alone sends selfie before spotting 2 figures in reflection of sunglasses. A mum who said she was home alone when she took a selfie to show her boyfriend a new pair of sunglasses was left freaked out after claiming to spot 2 figures when looking back at the picture. Now, it's just going to keep repeating, after buying a new pair of shades online, she decided she needed a second opinion. But if you look, actually, I did look at this picture and I blew it up. It is a little creepy. There are 2 figures and clearly there's a little boy. Did you see this yet?
Yeah, I did.
So I'm going to post that for you guys to look at for yourself. And the other thing I'm going to post, and I'm going to link it up on our social media, this one's fantastic. It's at pocketlint.com, and it's the most famous ghost photographs ever taken. And it was just put out in November of this year. There is picture after picture of just insane photographs. I mean, dating back from, I'm seeing the 1950s, 87, 1996, 1919. They go back, and I think all the way up to current. But they're just fascinating to look at. So if you're into looking at evidence, or if you want to call it pareidolia, you can do that as well. But these are pretty compelling. So I'll link those up. Just take a look at our social media and see if you can find it.
No, I was going to read about a story of a person that bought a big house that they claim is haunted. But then when you find out it's like a bed and breakfast, like, yeah, they're trying to draw attention.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing, too. It's like,
I feel like when you have a bed and breakfast and you're trying to get some, I don't know,
some clients,
you're like, oh, yeah, it's haunted.
I think that's I think that's why people buy all sorts of things. Like, I'm going to buy the Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, even though it's falling in complete disrepair.
You know what makes me sad, too, is when you hear about people at the lunatic asylums and they're haunted and they believe it's these poor people that live there. And we were talking about this before with the ghosts, with the natural disaster ghosts. Mm-hmm. Why are they trapped there? Why would these poor people who had the most horrible lives be trapped?
I'm thinking because of mental problems. But
yeah, but you would think God would be like, oh, they had mental problems. And in my point of view is like they're going to be free from that once they're dead. Maybe they're the souls of the people that tormented them, like the evil nurses.
Could be. I mean, there's some scary stuff there. But here's what bothers me is I was invited on an investigation at one of the asylums not far from here, and I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, in their rules and regulations, they state that you cannot cross them.
Really?
Yes.
That sounds very sad to me.
Like
you better keep them there so we can get attention to this place.
You're not allowed to try to cross them.
Well, how would they know if you did or not? That's the whole thing.
I'm sure they monitor you. I'm sure.
We saw you put your hands together and start praying.
Well,
you're kicked out of here.
You're out of here. Well, I mean, I had seen a list of rules, and it was like you can't smoke cigarettes. If you smoke, you have to smoke off the property.
Why? Because is that like smudging
phantom smells? I smell cigarettes. Well, I just had a Marlboro in the other room. So there was like this really literal long list, and on that list was, do not try to cross the spirits.
Oh, that makes me want to have a cigarette right now.
And cross some spirits.
But do you think cigarette smoke, you could smudge your house with a cigarette? With a Marlboro?
A pack of Camels? Maybe.
When we get the chance, we will find, anyone claims to have a haunted house, we're going to
Marlboro cleanse.
Marlboro cleanse. Yeah, don't put that.
As long as they're not asthmatic. Like, do you have asthma? No. All right, I'm about to light up a pack of Marbs.
Do you have to do all of them at the same time? Just the whole pack.
Just put them all in.
Well, don't a lot of cultures from around the world when they use smoke to heal people. Like they'll be laying on a bed and then you'll see them drag on something and then blow smoke over
I've
their
seen
body.
that. And I bet you some of it's tobacco leaves. I bet.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you could use anything. Why not use some marijuana while you're at it? Get everybody high, even the spirits.
But I bet you couldn't do like what is that type of fabric? Like that's got like almost like nylon, you know, that would melt. You couldn't, and it would just
Why
choke
would you
out.
like nylon?
Well, I'm just saying you can't use everything to smudge a house.
Steph's going to use some spandex. I'm going to use some rayon. Well, friends, I just want to thank you for tuning in and listening to our Monday news share. You can find us on all the major platforms. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. And again, I'll have all that information posted on there for you guys to take a look at. All the pictures.
Hey, Beck.
Yeah.
Why did the ghost cross the road?
I have no idea.
To get to the other side.
Okay. And don't forget, you can always do a smudging with a nice Virginia Slim. Bye, guys.
Bye.
To the spirit
Podcast.
supernatural science
I'm ghost.
psychic mystic
Spirit.
divine source
heaven, the dead. It's magic.